Okay, in this video, we'll be looking at solving quadratic equations by completing the square. Remember that there are three methods to solving quadratic equations, and I've just written them down here, but in this video, we'll just be focusing on completing the square. Let's look at this first example. I've written the steps for solving any completing the square question on the side here, and we'll be using those steps to solve all of these questions. So the first step is to move any numbers without x to the other side. In this example, the number without x is plus 2, so we need to move that to the other side first. Remember that when you move numbers to the other side of an equation, the sign changes, so it goes from positive 2 to negative 2. Okay, then step 2 is to halve the coefficient of x and add it squared to both sides. The coefficient of x, or the number in front of x, is 6, so we're going to halve 6, which is 3, and add 3 squared to both sides. Okay, I'm just going to rewrite the left-hand side. And negative 2 plus 3 squared becomes 7 on your calculator. So at the moment, you should have that. Step 3 is to then put the left-hand side into square brackets. To do that, you look at your first and last term, and you put x and 3 inside the bracket, and you put the squared outside the bracket, and this still equals 7. Now you've completed the square, and you just need to solve the equation. So to solve the equation, you want to get x by itself. The opposite of doing a square bracket is square rooting, so I'm going to square root the other side. Remember that whenever you square root, you must take the plus and minus case. So I'm just going to write plus minus in front of that square root. We still haven't got x by itself. We need to move the plus 3 to the other side. So this will now become x equals negative 3 plus minus root 7. So our two solutions for x are negative 3 minus root 7, and the other solution is negative 3 plus root 7. That's the solution for this question. Looking at this next example, it's very similar. Again, we want to start by moving any numbers without x to the other side. So the number without x is negative 17, so we're going to be moving that to the other side. So now we'll have x squared minus 6x equals positive 17. Step 2 is to look at the coefficient in front of x, halve it and add it squared to both sides. The number in front of x is still 6, so we're going to halve 6, which is 3, and add 3 squared to both sides. So now we'll have x squared minus 6x plus 3 squared, and that equals 17 plus 3 squared. Okay, 17 plus 3 squared is 26, and I'm just going to rewrite the left-hand side. Step 3 is then to put the left-hand side into square brackets. So look at the first term and look at the last term. And since we have a negative here between the x squared and the 6x, this will actually be x minus 3. And then the whole bracket will be squared, and that will equal 26. Now you just need to solve this equation like a normal equation. So to do that, we're going to get rid of the square bracket by square rooting. Don't forget to take the plus minus case whenever you square root, and then you want to get rid of that 3 by moving it to the other side. And now we have our two solutions for x as 3 minus root 26, and our other solution is 3 plus root 26. With this last example, the number in front of x squared is not 1, like in the previous two examples. With completing the square, the rule is that the number in front of x squared must be 1. So we need to somehow get rid of this 3. To do that, we'll just divide everything in this equation by 3. So 3x squared divided by 3 is just x squared. Negative 12x divided by 3 is just 4x. Plus 3 divided by 3 is plus 1. And 0 divided by 3 just stays as 0. So this is now our equation that we'll be going off, and we'll just follow the steps to solve this. So the first step is to move any numbers without x to the other side. So I'm going to move the 1 to the other side. Step 2 is to then halve the coefficient in front of x and add it squared to both sides. The coefficient in front of x is 4. Half of 4 is 2, so we're going to be adding 2 squared to both sides. Okay, negative 1 plus 2 squared is 3. And I'm just going to rewrite the left-hand side. Now step 3 is to put the left-hand side into square brackets. Look at your first term and your last term. So we have x squared and 2 squared. So we're going to put x and 2 into the brackets. And since there's a minus in this equation, we're going to put x minus 2 into the brackets. And then square that bracket, and that equals 3. Now we've completed the square, and now we just need to solve this equation. So we need to get rid of that square bracket. To do that, we're going to square root the other side. Don't forget to take the plus minus case when you square root. Then we need to get rid of that negative 2, so we're going to move that to the other side. That'll become positive 2 plus minus square root 3. So our two solutions for x are 2 minus root 3 and 2 plus root 3. That's the solution for this question.